Hello, and welcome to the Narrowing Path, Walking the Spiritual Walk. My name is Steve Van Einstein. Thank you all for joining me again tonight as we go through and we do today's daily reading from James Allen's Daily Meditations. This, of course, will be fresh to you and fresh to me, meaning that you'll get my genuine response, reactions, observations, and what I relate to about the reading, as this will be the first time that I hear it or read it right here on this podcast with you. So it's always a fun game. You've seen me relatively recently go through a couple in a row where I was trying to make sense of it and just trying to put the pieces in place, And so I always appreciate that y'all come through with me. This last one here, yesterday's. I love the way it ended. The man of integrity can never be subdued by the forces of darkness. Pretty pretty powerful thing to say. And it was pretty definite that never, you know. But I've it's been my experience that these things are true. So let's see what the 26th brings us. So this is September 26th reading from James Allen's Daily Meditations. Without discrimination, a man is mentally blind. Wow, true. A man's mind and life should be free from confusion. He should be prepared to meet every mental, material, and spiritual difficulty, and should not be intricately caught, as many are, in the meshes of doubt, indecision, and uncertainty. When troubles and so-called misfortunes come along, he should be fortified against every emergency that can come against him. But such mental preparedness and strength cannot be attained in any degree without discrimination. And discrimination can only be developed by bringing into play and constantly exercising the analytical faculty. Mind, like muscle, is developed by use. Wow. I enjoy this. I like this opening line. Without discrimination, a man is mentally blind. Now, discrimination today is kind of a hot word, but back then it meant discernment or good judgment. You know what? Let me look it up. Okay. Okay. So, the making of distinctions, act of observing or marking a difference. So, this isn't the racially charged version that we're so used to. It's a action, or we'll say action, or a course of thinking people take to mark differences between things. Now you can use your discrimination as to what trail you're going to take through the woods, right? What business partner you'd like to have. What romantic partner you'd like to have, right? So discrimination doesn't mean what's so commonly associated with it these days. It really means to just notice the differences between things. And then you can make a choice. which really isn't a bad thing. The whole process is be used to make a decision as to what's best for you or the circumstance. It's supposed to be a step in discerning the right decision to make. Similar to discernment, actually. Let me look up discernment really quick here. Discern, perceive, or recognize. Distinguish. Okay. So it's very, very similar. Excuse me again. I got something in my throat. So without discrimination, a man is mentally blind, right? When you can't make the distinction between things, when you can't understand the concepts and the virtues you're supposed to be embodying, when you don't see and learn about people's behavior, right? You can't make decisions. You're just blindly taking action. And that's never a good thing. You might get it right sometimes, most of the times wrong. So it's important to learn, to be able to be discriminatory in your observations, to understand and to learn from your experiences, even the experiences of others. So, a man's mind and life should be free from confusion, clarity. We're talking about clarity here. We're talking about uh, as I stumble over the words, we're talking about clarity. We're talking about clarity. We're talking about um, decisiveness. We're talking about purpose and direction here in this statement. Free from confusion and understanding. We should have an understanding of where we're going, how we want to get there, and what we're looking for to get there. We don't have that sounds specific, but in reality, it's not. It's more generalized. A lot of times, some people take it to actually be very specific, but the reality is it's usually more generalized. And then we see how these things procure themselves, and we use our experience and our wisdom to understand what's the right things coming along. He should be prepared to meet every mental, material, and spiritual difficulty, and should not be intricately caught, as many are, in the meshes of doubt, indecision, and uncertainty, when troubles and so-called misfortunes come along. This is a great reading for the times today, because right now there's a lot of doubt, indecision, and uncertainty. We don't know which direction to go. We don't know what the right thing to do is, what's appropriate, not appropriate, what's socially accepted, not socially accepted. Knowing oneself is a byproduct of walking this way of life, walking this walk, walking the spiritual walk. We become very clear as to who we are, what we believe, what is right, what is wrong, and what we do. So, doubt and indecision and uncertainty, when they arise, they aren't as they, we don't stay in them as long. We don't freeze in the face of them. We make a decision and move forward. He should be fortified against every emergency that can come against him. You can't plan for every single circumstances. You can plan for a couple. You can plan for some, again, general ones. But you should understand your values. You should understand your occupation and your role. You should also understand the purpose and direction of the situations you're in. So then, with those things known, at the end of the day, you are fortified. You are prepared for any emergency that can come against you, right? We're not talking about planning for every single turn of phrase or breath taken throughout our lives, in the material physical response we'll have to them. We more so choose the way we're going to live, the direction and the purpose, and then make decisions accordingly. But such mental preparedness and strength cannot be attained by any degree without discrimination. And discrimination can only be developed by bringing into play and constantly exercising the analytical faculty. So, discrimination, discernment, judgment, categorization, understanding what is needed, why these options are different, how to handle those things. And analytical faculty, logic, reason, understanding. These are important. These qualities are important on our journeys. We're supposed to use our minds. This is the thing. We don't just forget our minds are there. We don't just act like things don't matter. Because obviously they do. We can't force our own blindness. We were given bodies to use. We were given a brain to use, a mind to use. We get to use them. We get to use the logic. We get to use the reason, the science. We know that science and reason and logic and faith and spirituality, you have all of that available to you. You don't pick one or the other. You get to actually use those two things in concert to create a very powerful way of living. It's absolutely incredible what you can do with those two things. People short themselves by thinking it's one or the other. So now this is the closing line for this one. Mind, like muscle, is developed by use. We have to think, contemplate. We have to understand. We have to gain perspective and have conversation. We have to read. We have to learn. We have to study things. What does Emerson say? I think it was an American Scholar. 3 things we need to learn from are nature, history, and our relations and associations. All of it's relevant and all of it matters. It's very, very important to understand. So, use your mind, develop it, use it. Ground yourself in spiritual principles and values. Use those as guideposts as you walk through this life. You'll be surprised what you walk away with, what you can find, what you stumble upon. It's pretty amazing, actually. So, anyway. Well, that's it for today. Thank y'all for joining me. This was a really, really cool one. I liked the direction and the vibe of this one. So I hope y'all did too. And I'm looking forward till tomorrow. So until next time, though, thanks.